All right, kids, welcome back to episode 5 of
Bitch, I Ain't Scared.
I'm Nathaniel the Fool.
I'm Rob the Scholar.
And this week, we have a very special guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I do. My name is Jonaral Martin, and I am excited to be here with these two gentlemen to talk about movies and scary stuff.
And do you like scary stuff?
Only if it's realistic. It cannot be Jason or whoever, walking and someone's sprinting and he somehow catches up to them. I can't.
So
I
no
can't deal with that.
supernatural horror movies. Okay, so
Yeah.
then what would be a good example of a horror movie that you like or okay with?
The one that I can speak about that I actually saw twice, which is a testament to how much I liked it. It was called Vacancy. I liked it because it seemed so real, and I was really like in the moment, and it wasn't, outlandish or science.
I wish I can remember where that movie took place. I wonder if that or was it a fictional place? Because I wonder if that area is just so easy to just come up with a business like that and just do all of that under the radar and have nobody know about it.
Well, it was definitely out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Off the map. But it was probably middle of the country. That's usually how these things go.
That was a while ago. Oh, yeah, Luke Wilson, Kate Beckinsale. I remember that one.
Yeah, that was fun. The second time you watched it was with me. That was the first time I'd ever seen it. And that was one of the few movies I've watched with you that are scary, because you don't watch a lot of scary movies. But I've seen some good ones. You've introduced me to some good ones.
What other ones did you that was scary?
The Mist.
Oh.
And The
Is that
Ruins.
scary?
The Mist is scary.
It was very
Is
scary.
that considered horror film?
Yes,
now?
it's
Yes,
considered
it
horror.
is definitely a horror
It's based on
movie.
Stephen King's novel.
Well,
Yes.
I really like The Mist.
Yes, The
Probably
Mist.
more than Vacancy.
Well, look at that. Okay, see, we're opening his mind. See,
The Mist
there's a
is
horror
amazing.
fan
The Mist
in
is-
everyone.
And The Ruins.
Oh my God, The Ruins was really good too.
And that one's not realistic. I mean, okay, so I
As
haven't
far
gone,
as we know.
Yeah, I haven't gone hiking through the
Yeah,
Amazon.
who
and I'm
knows
not going
what's
to.
going on over there, so...
I mean, I guess since we mentioned those, it's not necessarily like it's just I don't know. Like it has to. It's realistic in some kind of way. I know the little flower.
That fucking flower.
That flower.
You should. Okay, so that was another example of when my jaw dropped. I
Yeah.
was so upset when that fucking flower was ringing like a cell phone. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it.
But see, here's the thing. This is okay. See, you're gonna get me worked up. We'll get to this later. But
just saying.
No, but here's the thing. I love the fact that Ruins is okay, but when M. Night does it, it's full of shit. In The Happening.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like The Happening actually.
Whoa. Okay, we're gonna stop there because we'll get to that.
I liked it.
We'll get to that episode one day when we talk about M. Night's filmography. Good choice,
Yes.
by the way.
So actually,
Gracias.
the reason that we've brought you here with us today is it's a very special day. Get Out is now on DVD and Blu-ray and instant video. I don't know. Call it whatever you want. But you can watch it. And if you haven't seen it in the theaters, if you haven't seen it yet, come back to us later because we're going to say everything about this movie under the sun.
That's right. This episode is specifically on Get Out and Get Out alone. We wanted to make this episode just... we want to talk about how brilliant this movie is, and I think it just deserves the entire time. And I know that you are a big fan of this movie, so I'm glad that you're on here because I'm actually really curious what you thought and what you have to say because I'm sure you'll probably give us something that I didn't even realize. So
I hope that's pressure. Well, I mean, for me personally, when I first saw a horror film with an African American male as a star, I was a little trepidatious, to be quite honest with you. I was like, nah, I'm good. I wasn't interested. I was like, it's not going to be good. With the recent, proliferation of black bodies in the media being murdered and dying and all those things, I was like, I don't want to see that in fiction mode. But then I saw that Jordan
Peele
was the director. And I was like, oh, that's really weird. He's a comedian. Why is he doing horror film? All right, I'm in. So I watched it, and it was pretty dope. And it has, so many elements to it. And then you come home, you talk about it. A couple days later, you're still talking about it, and then it's over. But for me, I began to read articles, and these articles showed me that there was some levels. Like, everything is so intentional. Like, it's not a mistake or a fluke that certain things are in the movie. And I was just like, wow. It's kind of like when you go buy something and you find out that it's buy one get one free. You're like, oh shit, this is great. So yeah, I mean, even after the movie was done, I just kept learning stuff and kept learning about what Mr. Peele was doing and why he was doing it. And it's just really...
It's funny that you mentioned that, you were really shocked by Jordan Peele doing this, because I actually thought it was that he was going to do or something for a show or whatnot when this news came out. And then to come to find out that it was in fruition, that he really was going to do a horror movie. And I couldn't wait, because I think he is a very funny guy, and even though he does do comedy, it's well written. Yeah. So for him to tap into the genre of horror, I thought was going to be really interesting. And some people who are sort of typecast, even with acting and directing, you seem to think that that's really their only skill, their one note. It may be their strongest, but I'm sure that most of these people have tons of talent and ideas that they want to, put out in the world. And so... I was glad that Jordan Peele had the opportunity to do this.
Yeah. As an actor, I feel like, I mean, you always get put in this box, or you're typecast, and for him to, I forget how long they said he was working on this. He's been working on this for a while, and I think it's really amazing when an artist can actually, have his own show, do his own thing, but have this secret project that no one knows about, and he can just, really work on it and really cultivate it and get it ready for us. And he did a really good job.
So one thing that I want to point out just before we start talking about the movie, just to see if you guys know this offhand. So I'm looking at the total gross of this film. This movie made $229 million worldwide. Guess how much this movie cost to make?
I already know the answer to that question, so I won't guess.
I don't know. If I
Take any guess. No, there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious.
How much was it?
It was $229 million. That's how much the movie made. How much do you think this movie cost?
$20 million.
$4.5 million.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he profited so much. And that, again, just shows the skill level, that you don't need like CGI or these big theatrics to make a good movie. Sometimes a good story will go a long way. Yeah. And sometimes when you film in a certain location, or just don't put too much in the environment to get your story across, you can make some money as long as that story is good. So, props to him for that. I thought I should just bring that up before we dive in.
Excellent. All right, so I think I'm the only one who has seen this more than once.
Yeah, I only saw it the one time in theaters.
Okay, so, and it's been since February, but still, I maybe I have that slight advantage, because I just saw things that I just didn't notice the first time, or at least I thought about things that I didn't think about the first time. Even like going to there's the BuzzFeed list that we all read. And I don't remember everything off of it, but I remember leaving the movie theater and we were all like, what the fuck was going on with those Fruit Loops? We know that there was something weird. We know that shit was weird, but we were like, why did she do that? Right. And then it blew my mind. Keep the colors separate from the white. I think my head, like, I had an aneurysm and came back to life, but that one really got me. And then they talked about, and this is like a really subtle thing, you would have to know this, but there was these omega symbols on front of the house, and it was like, that's the last symbol of the Greek alphabet. It's the end.
Yeah, I did read about that.
So, I mean, there were a lot of different things.
That theory is sort of half and half with people. I mean, I tell people about the Fruit Loop one, and some people are just like, it's a little reaching. I
It's
don't know.
not.
But here's the thing: it's a very interesting theory. I mean, whoever thought that up to do that. I mean, of course, I'd rather hear Jordan Peele tell me that's what it was. But again, if anything, that was a really interesting way of looking at it. I just wonder how many people actually follow that same sort of rule, because I'm sure she's not she's not one of a kind. If there are a lot of people who think like her, I wonder if like it's out there and people actually do that.
I mean, I don't know if anybody does that. Like, I've seen people eat dry cereal just as a snack, but to just sit there and drink milk and eat dry cereal separately, no. He put that in there. He wanted to make a point.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like everything in this movie is not just there. It all is for a reason. He chose things specifically. Like, whenever you look at ads or commercials, nothing is accidental. You know, they put certain people in the foreground because they want you to focus on them, or they want the woman to look a certain way. It's the same with these movies. They don't put these things in accidentally or arbitrarily. He wanted us to see that and be like, what is that? I mean, some things are subtle, like I think the Omega thing was subtle. And I don't even think I don't know if it clicked until maybe Jasmine said it, but when they said that, you know, the grandfather, all his life, he was like pissed that Jesse Owens beat him out. So it's like now he wants to be able to run as fast as he can. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I completely forgot about that moment, him saying that. It came and gone.
Yeah.
And then him running around at night was just weird.
So just before we start talking about the movie, I do want to give folks who have never seen the movie or at least never heard of it, and I'm sure there are people out there who have not.
There's nobody who hasn't heard about this movie. Either you watched it and you loved it, or you're a salty-ass white person and you're screaming reverse racism, and there's no such thing as reverse racism.
So I just want to just give a brief sort of plot just to what this movie is about. And basically it involves this man, Chris, who is African-American, who is dating this white woman named Rose. And I think they've been dating for about, 6 months or something. And she wants to invite him to stay for the weekend at her parents' house, who live in the country. And he feels a little bit uneasy to meet these parents because he has this belief that this woman's parents don't know that he's black, and so he's afraid of going there for a whole weekend and having it be super awkward. So he decides to go, and basically when he gets there, he starts seeing and noticing these very weird things happening all around him with her parents and just people that are around him, the help that these parents have at their home. And there's just something odd and weird going on at this house, and we slowly start figuring out what's going on. And so I will just leave it at that. That's what the movie is about. And it touches on race and racism and things like that. So it is a bit of a satire as well as a horror movie. And I just wanted to give a little brief sort of plot description from that.
He loves to give synopsises.
Yes, I do. I think people should know.
But honestly, I feel like this time they don't need a synopsis because it's very fresh. This movie is still on everyone's lips because people either were amazed by all the codes and the secret things that we were supposed to notice and not notice, and then there are people who were really upset by this movie because they feel that it's like promoting white genocide or something. But also, and for people who say things like that, I just want you to watch any other horror film. 95% of horror films feature a white cast. So if you want to talk about white genocide, watch all the Scream films, watch all the Nightmare on Elm Street films. Most of those kids are white, and most of them die. In this film, it's a very different story. There's no white genocide.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing at all.
It's not a thing.
That's called that white supremacy. And when I mean white supremacy, I'm not talking about the Aryan Brothers or KKK. I'm specifically talking about a political system, a political, economic, and social system of domination that white people are so used to that when they see something that counters that, they have this visceral reaction to it, like white genocide or black privilege or those crazy things that people say that are just not true. So, yeah. Like you said, they either loved it or hated it.
So when you guys saw this movie, I'm sure you guys didn't know too much about it when you went in, except for, you know, what it's about. Did you have, I guess I shouldn't say did you have any expectations, but what did you think you were going to see? Did you think you were going to see like a full-on horror movie? Did you think there was just going to be like a horror comedy? Like, what did you think you were going to watch when you walked in?
God, I literally had no idea. I mean, because those two things do touch on it, because it's like he's really a comedian, but this is a horror film. How's this gonna pan out? I mean, I did not expect to see what I saw. It does have some comedy elements, which is great, but no, I did not expect to see it done in this way.
Do you have an idea, Nate? What?
I think I did have expectations just because he was a comedian. I didn't think it was going to be comedy. It definitely looked like a much darker story that he had told before. It wasn't like his variety show at all. But I didn't think it was going to be, what's the word? Because I'll say slick. I thought it was going to be much more like, oh, I get it, that's funny. But it was more like, sometimes it was very uncomfortable laughter, and sometimes it was just like, yeah, you have to be smart to understand this humor. You have to be, yes, you have to be an intelligent creature to appreciate this humor, because it's rooted in things that are very real and very serious. And it in no means takes away from the seriousness of reality. It puts a spotlight on it. And it's supposed to, I think, make that conversation happen. So when I saw it, I think it exceeded my expectations. I didn't think that it was going to be so amazing. And I didn't know. I thought they were more like, they were hypnotized, but I didn't think it was going to go so far as to like take people's bodies and take their brains.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. So I thought that they did a great job.
I actually expected a supernatural element to this. I thought it was going to be either ghost or possession, something weird. And there was a scene or just a clip in the trailer that suggested it was going to be a little bit of supernatural, because I don't think I remember getting a feeling of being hypnotized in the trailer. I don't know. I just felt that he was either going to get possessed or something. But I expected something. Be shocked that it was more sort of grounded and a little bit more realistic than supernatural stuff. But not everything has to be for it to make a good impression, at least on me. So I was still happy with the route they took.
Right, and they didn't really show hypnotism in the trailer. Well, they did. They kind of did, I think.
I mean, it was hinted.
Because she's saying, like, sink.
Yeah.
Sink into the floor.
It was hinted, yeah.
But, even when they get to that scene, it's like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Sink into the floor.
Exactly.
Now you're in the sunken place. It's like, this is something else. This is not just a simple thing. The sunken place means something.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm going to let you take over for a minute, because I'm just kidding.
I have some cue cards, because I'm learning some stuff. I'm reading some books right now, to be quite honest with you. So, yeah, the sunken place means so many different things. But first, I want to give the definition to like what racism is. And I think that you can look in the dictionary right now and see the definition of racist or racism, but it's not accurate. And the reason why I say that is because, there was one time where we thought that the earth was flat, and now we know that it's round. So, I mean, sociologists, anthropologists have studied and, done the work. So the definition has actually changed. Racism is... Where's that card at? It's a form of oppression in which one racial group dominates the other. In the U.S., the dominant group is white. Therefore, racism is, racism is cultural, societal, it's all over the place. We swim in this water every day. Everyone who resides in this society is not immune to this relationship, no matter what race you are. So in this movie, I was just really impressed by, I mean, it's about racism and racist behavior. It's about, what's that word? Jeez. Microaggressions. It's all about that. It's about things that we experience on a day-to-day basis. And there's times in the past where there have been times where I did not know how to respond to certain microaggressions. And it leaves you, you know, kind of feeling weird and not knowing how to, like, oh, is that a compliment, or were they making fun of me, or but yeah, it's this movie. On the surface, I think everyone can watch it and enjoy it, but Nathaniel had actually touched on you have to be super intelligent to really get some things. Is that what you said?
Basically, I mean,
Okay.
you have to be able to understand the system of oppression. You have to understand this is not anyone pointing a finger at you and saying you're racist, because that's when people are like, oh, they're trying to make me a bad person. It's like, when something's not about you, don't make it about you. But at the same time, you have to realize that we're all in this system together, so it affects all of us. Right. So that's what I'm saying. You have to be able to understand all of these things so that you can appreciate the humor and appreciate the horror aspect for sort of being fantastical, but not being that far off from the truth. And that's another thing that I think Jordan Peele wanted us to see. And especially, I'll speak for the Caucasoids out there. He wanted us to be able to put ourselves in the shoes of Chris. He wanted us to be able to understand that a lot of these things happen. No, people are not taking your brain, but these things happen all the time where you're made to feel uncomfortable, or people come up and like, oh, is it better to be with a black man? How is his dick? It's like, these things happen, and it's like, it's awkward, and maybe that's not horrifying, but these things happen all the time to people of color. And when you put it in the realm of a horror film and your body is going to be taken away from you, well, I just said something crazy. I just had like an image pop in my head. Your body's taken away from you. You become a slave. And we all know what that means, and nobody wants to talk about slavery, but that's what all of these things bring up with the movie. Sorry, I stepped on your toes.
Okay. I actually wanted to read something that I wrote earlier. So, white supremacy is a political, economic, social system of domination. The system is based on the historical and current accumulation of a structural power that privileges, centralizes, and elevates white people as a group. So, with this horror film having this black man on the forefront, it completely flips over the table, and we see just a different kind of horror that is actually rooted in reality, unfortunately. So that's what I wanted to say earlier, but I couldn't get my words out.
So, like, let's talk about that party now, since we, have already because you brought up this microaggression in it, and some people would ask me, what was creepy about it? What was so scary? Was it really a horror movie, or was it just a lot of comedy? And I say, okay, well, there's this party scene where a lot of people, go over to, have drinks and whatnot and play in their auction and stuff. And there's a lot of these awkward sort of, complimentative, but, very racist, statements. And, I'm in the theater and, a lot of people are laughing. And most of it felt a little awkward when they were laughing, but it wasn't laughter like, haha, like, yeah, they just talked about you in that way. It was just more of like, how dare they? Like, how dare you ask something like that? And those who have seen the movie, they had no problem asking these questions. Their face was completely calm and felt completely comfortable asking these questions. And so when people ask me, what was so scary about this movie? And I tell them, I was like, there's a lot of jump scares in it and creepy, situations and moments where you're just like, ooh, what's going on? But it was the one thing that I always say was the scariest thing about this movie is the fact that Chris knew something was wrong. Mm-hmm. And he had so many hints and opportunities to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And he did not take them. Why? Because for the most part, black people are used to just brushing it off their shoulder and not taking every single thing to a point of anger or it needs to be addressed. And we and especially with his surroundings, it's just like, what do you do in that situation? Do you just say, oh, they're ignorant? Or do you say that there's really a problem here? But yet he's so used to just playing it cool, not making a big scene. And then we also don't want to give out the stereotype, oh, there's the angry black man yelling again over something so small. Mm-hmm. And so what does he do? He just ignores it. And all of that whole mindset, that process that he goes through to just let it go led to almost his demise. And that is some scary, like, I was sitting there so uneven and just like awkward. Like, yeah, I'm watching the movie. I know something's wrong, but it's just like, what do you do when you're in that situation? Do you make a scene? Do you just be like, no, fuck this, I'm out of here. Your family's rude. Like, that's your girlfriend. You don't want to be disrespectful. And he ends up putting himself in danger. And that's scary because we're not used to speaking up that loud on every single situation. And it's just unfortunate that it's come to something like that, because it'd just be wrong to just speak out every single time. So that party scene was a very important scene, I think, in a lot of things. I mean, the whole theme itself, I think, came out in that whole 20 minutes of just how people interact with each other and their comfortable level with talking to black people in that way, but yet not knowing any. So it spoke a lot about what Jordan Peele, I think, was trying to say.
Yeah. So back to you have to be intelligent. I think you just have to be, and this is a term that's being used so much now, you have to be woke. You have to understand the definition that I just actually said. These white people in this film, there's always this good bad binary. If you're racist, then you're bad, and then if someone's being called bad, then their immediate reaction is to be on the defense. The way that they were carrying themselves was extremely problematic and extremely racist. But I also feel like, and this is not to give them a pass, but I feel like with history class, and I feel like with no one really understanding what history, occurred, all they know is that, yes, there were slaves and now it's over. According to, my history class, at least, I didn't really learn that much, to be quite honest with you. But now that I know more history, I'm like, oh, I understand this movie so much more, like in a visceral kind of way, There were people who were laughing in the theater, and I was like upset. Not upset, but I was just like, that's not fucking funny. Like, why are you guys laughing about that shit? But yeah, this, you mentioned the party scene, and no one's mentioned this yet, but there was an Asian man there. Mm-hmm. And did we mention that in the theater or afterwards? I feel like
I didn't notice it at all until I read that whole BuzzFeed article, but that was the first time I had...
We talked about it, and we were like, what the fuck was he doing at that party? We were like really trying to like think about it. It was like on the same level as those damn Fruit Loops. We were like, what is going on? And then I read an article by Love Life of an Asian Guy. He's amazing. He goes hard on everyone who needs to receive his, his wrath. But he wrote this article, and he just discussed how Asians are, or Asian Americans, however you want to look at it, maybe worldwide. I can't remember the article. I should pull it up and be better. But he said that they are implicit in white supremacy, and that is what he was doing there. Because they will, to a degree, they will uphold that structure, because there's, even though people have said all kinds of shit about Asian people, and they say a lot of offensive things throughout the eras, they are close to whiteness. What is that phrase that it's like the closer you are to whiteness?
The closer you are to whiteness, the more value you hold.
Something like that. So it's like, because their skin is already lighter, it's like, well, we're just going to get in the mix as much as we can. And I'm not even paraphrasing anything from his article, but if If you don't know him, look him up because he writes a lot of great stuff. And also, I think it's sort of representative of our culture to begin with. I mean, because for the most in this country, somehow amazingly, the majority of people are white, and then he represents the population that is at least visible, or wants to be visible, and will mix in with white people.
Well, just his question alone, like he only had the one line, and
Right.
it was like, "Can you explain to me, like, is it really that bad to be a black person today?" He was obviously researching, like, do I want to be on the white
Exactly.
side or do I want to be on the black side?
And actually, what he wanted, he was like, is it better for me to just be myself, or should I be you?
Yeah.
Should I, when I go to this auction and I flip my little card up, do I want to become you? Is my life going to improve? That's what he wanted to know. And that's some real shit. It's like, is life so bad now because, black is in and black is fashionable and everyone loves black people and all of these things that they were going off of.
That was the one thing that I had a question about when I walked out of that theater. I'm like, in 2017, all of these people want to be black. This is the worst time to be a black person, and yet they all want to be, because it's what I thought. Well, okay, so the party scene again. So when they brought the guy out from the beginning of the movie, I know. Oh, okay.
Antoine.
I'm sorry. Tangent. First of all, let me just bring up his character for a minute. Movies are sort of known to have people who, I guess, react in a very weird way when they are put in danger. And to create suspense for the third person watching, they do a lot of stupid things in order to build suspense. This is what I love about Jordan Peele's movie, for one, is that from the very beginning, you had smart people. This guy is running around in a neighborhood completely desolate. I mean, there's hardly anybody walking around. And, this girl he's supposed to meet is already late, and, he's by himself. And the minute he hears, like, some weird shit or this car who's kind of following him, he's like, fuck this hookup, I'm out of here. And that's the thing. It's like most movies, they're still trying to figure out what it is that's going on. What's this noise over here? Did I hear something to investigate? What does he do? He's like, it's time to go. I'm not meeting this girl anymore. It's time for me to leave. And he still gets caught. You still bring the suspense, you still bring the scare, and he still did a smart thing. And I love the fact that when stuff just don't seem right, you get out. And that's what I love about his character. But he shows up later, and what I thought happened, because he was with that woman who sort of was clinging to his arm the whole time.
Clinging is yeah. And
she mentions her dead husband, and for some reason I thought that I can't remember. I thought that he was, I guess, taking the place of him, or she marries him and he's just hypnotized to be her slave. And I don't know, I don't know if they really made it clear. Was that her husband inside of him? That's something that I wasn't too sure about, and I was still trying to figure out what the angle was with them being, sort of brainwashed. And I thought that because her husband died, she needed help around the house, or she just wanted, like what Rod said, a sex slave. And so I thought that he was still himself, but just under her command. I didn't know if it was him entirely. And I just found that to be crazy that people want to be a black person. Because if you ask anybody, they love the certain aspects of us that we provide from our culture, but to actually be a black person, and I don't think anybody would agree to do that. That is
the extreme that they're taking with the narrative, because everybody wants to appropriate black culture and wear the clothing and have the hairstyles and
slang
tan
and the words
and have darker skin, but at the end of the day, they don't want to truly be black. So yes, that is the satirical part. And another thing I'll say about that character, I think his name was Andre. When he's reintroduced, and I didn't see this until the second time, Chris is approaching him, and he's kind of like, he's in his little hat, and you see him from the back, and he's like, he's like doing something. He's like practicing being this new person.
Nathaniel's like doing a little dance right now in case. I just wanted to
his
say
arms
that.
up just.
That's what he was doing. He was doing something like before Chris is like, "Hey, good to see another brother," and then, I didn't realize until I saw him doing that. I was like, "Oh, that's her husband," and he's like practicing. He's like trying to like be someone else right now.
I didn't notice
he's
that
like
at all.
doing this little dance, and then whenever she's like, "Oh, honey." The Parkers or whatever the fuck their names were, they're asking about you, and he walks over to them and he does this little like turn and he's like, look at me, and they're all like, oh yes, clap, clap, oh my god, you look wonderful, Marvin, because that's his new black body and she's getting her new dick all the time and she's so excited about it. So these are the things that they want. They want I don't know, they want the surface level things, but no, of course at the end of the day it's like, really, as Rob said, you want to be black now?
So I guess if they stay in their secluded town, I guess it will be all good. But I mean, I would assume, just think about like even on their way there when they got pulled over,
right.
Which is another good scene.
That hurt my head.
This is what. Oh yeah, when you read the thing, huh?
Yeah.
So this is another scene that really surprised me when they revealed everything towards the end. They get pulled over, and this white cop, decides that, I want to see Chris's ID, even though he wasn't driving. He barely said a word, and he still needed to see his ID. And the way that Rose was defending him, you should have saw my face. I was like, get it, girl. Like,
right.
Defend your man.
Right.
Stand by your
That's
man.
That's what we all thought.
I was like, good for you. And then she's like, nobody messes with my... I was like, God, I love you. I was like, I hope she goes back home, and if these parents don't act right, she sets them straight too. I was just so appreciative of her. And, she definitely came off as one of those women who isn't dating a black person for the wrong reasons. Right. And I thought that she really understood the culture and knew the difference between people who are fetishizing based on, stereotypes than actually liking Chris as a person. And I was so proud of her. And then, of course, we find out like...
That was the worst moment in the movie because everyone, I mean, at least, when I saw it, it's like, it was so insidious.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, please, she has to be hypnotized.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense because she...
Oh, at the end, you're saying.
At the end, I mean,
when
like
it's revealed.
She was so good the whole time. It was like you believed everything she said.
Damn keys.
Everything. I mean, and he was even like, it's like he's begging her because he found those pictures. He saw all these pictures, and it's like, I'm not her first black boyfriend. Mm-hmm. This is weird. And it's like, no, she's involved, but please, God, let her not be involved. So it was awful. It was awful to get to that moment, to see that, and then to read later about how the cop wanted his ID, and it's like she wasn't defending him. She just didn't want a fucking paper trail.
Yeah, so that was the theory in the BuzzFeed article, was that, if the cops had known he was in that town, that's evidence that they were the last people to see him before he went missing. And I was like, whoa, no, that can't be. That's bad. No.
Like, heartbreaking.
But here's the thing. I don't know if you guys will believe me on this, but I think I told you, Nathaniel, once when we talked about this when it first came out. I actually figured out that she was in on it before the actual reveal. Did I ever tell you about this?
No, I don't think so.
So, I was reaching, but I ended up being right, obviously. So here's where I was like, something's not right, and I think she knows what she's doing. And it was... Okay, so it was when they all were having dinner together. The brother had just arrived home, and they all sat down, and he was just trying to show so much dominance over this man, like, I can beat you in this, and yada, yada, yada. But the brother and sister tell a story about her first boyfriend.
Oh, yeah, no. I had the same revelation when I watched it the second time, and I was like, oh my God.
So, yeah, I was in the theater, and I was listening to this story, and the thing is, when you're watching movies as much as I do, you sort of know a little bit of the formula. Not every director follows this, but there are certain things that you notice and you see. And obviously, they wouldn't have it in the script if there wasn't any meaning to it. Nobody just tells a story for the fun of it, and the story wasn't even funny. So what is the point of her telling it? And it was how she French kissed a guy for the very first time, and she got really weirded out when she did it. She bit her man's tongue. And it was just so descriptive and specific. And I'm like, why are they telling us this story? And I'm like, it was a black person. She has dated a black person before. We're supposed to know or think about or keep in mind that she dated some dude way back when that French kissed her. And if she wasn't on it, she was probably disgusted over the fact that she had to do that to get him to the house. And I didn't have any other proof. It was just a hunch, and I was just like, this woman's in on it, and I bet you that boyfriend she's talking about was a black dude. So she's dated a black dude before, screw that. And then, of course, when the reveal of the pictures come up, it's that dude out there cutting wood. Yeah. And I knew it. I just knew it was him. And I said this to my friend who I was with. I was like, I bet you it's that fool outside talking and, chopping wood, and I bet you it's him. And yeah, sometimes I'm very gullible and I never forget, never figure out anything. But that scene to me just stood out, and it just gave me something to think about.
So wait, that wasn't what I thought of. I mean, I did think, oh, they're talking about like her first boyfriend was probably a black guy. But the thing that, like, my head was like, oh my God, explosion. The brother was telling a story. He said, yeah, she used to save her toenails. She used to bite them off and suck on them, and then put them in a box and save them. And I was like, the second time, he's talking about her boyfriends. That's code for her boyfriends. And he was calling them toenails. And I know it's kind of a stretch, but that was like a clue. Like, at least like she keeps things in boxes. It's like she bites them off, she sucks on them, and then she puts them in a box. And but
it makes sense because it wasn't her first time. She's been doing it.
It's like he wasn't talking about toenails. He was talking about her fucking boyfriends.
So you guys have been talking. So let me go back a little bit. Sorry. No, it's fine. Back to when they got pulled over. I was super excited that she was using her whiteness. Like if
white
privilege. Yeah, she was using that. She understood that. She understood that she had privilege and that she would use it for, the good. Just like if a man was with another man and he starts talking about a woman, it's up to that man to fight patriarchy and say, that's actually not cool to talk about her that way. I mean, using your privilege to, fight these things, sexism, racism, patriarchy. I mean, that really made me excited when I saw her do that. Obviously, that was, a farce, but also you touched on this already, but yeah, he was looking in that box and he saw all the proof there. He saw, I mean, like you said, he kept seeing clues and he just wasn't following that intuition. He just like, no, I'm good. And even still, but even me as an audience member, I still had hope because he had hope when she was looking for them damn keys. And then when she didn't have them, when she didn't, do what
that purse was not that big. I mean, you would think
she legit surprised.
I was like, you would have found those keys by now. I'm sorry. Like, what are you taking so long for?
Yeah, I was really surprised.
I would have been out the moment my phone was uncharged. Don't touch my phone. You don't touch.
That's the thing.
Somebody's phone.
That's the thing.
I plugged my phone in. Don't no. When you unplug my phone, no, it's time to go.
But she's playing the long game though. You know what I mean? Like, she's been there for how long? 6 months? You said 4 months, right?
I think it was just 4 months.
She's playing the long game. So that is what keeps him like, oh, my senses are off because she would never do that. She's my girl.
But that family, I mean, they were very tactful. I mean, let's make sure his phone dies so he can't call out. Like, they really thought of everything. And
they're used to this.
I want to bring up the parents. So Bradley Whitford, who, God, he was so good in this movie. I really liked him in this movie. And, like, a lot of people don't know this. I had a friend of mine be like, that's the guy from Cabin in the Woods. And I'm like, yeah.
And Adventures in Babysitting.
Yeah, exactly. And, he was just amazing in this role. First of all, Bradley, gotta give it to you. You are one of the hottest daddies I have ever seen lately in a film.
He does
Rocking
look a
that
lot
silver
better.
hair.
Yeah, with the silver hair,
he
he
looks
I was
real
like,
good.
you're
Yeah.
like, 60 looks good on you. How old he is?
I know. No, but just his awkwardness in general. Like, I've never been in that situation before, so I don't even really know how to react to a parent who's trying to, I'd vote for Obama again if I could, but just his subtle hints gave it away too. I mean, he was obvious without even being obvious. And, you're in his home. You don't want to disrespect him. But bringing up the black deer, like, come on. Like, that was...
He didn't even say black deer. He just said...
Black buck.
Or he didn't even say black. He
didn't say black? I thought
no, but he was like... I think he said bucks.
Or maybe, just bucks in general.
Or maybe he didn't, but I know the article...
It was just the way that he said it.
Like, oh, I hate deers. I just hate them.
We should just
They're
get
like
rid
rats.
of all of them.
Just get rid of all. And it was like, you knew it was like, this is supposed to be...
Yeah.
Elbow nudge, we know what he's talking about.
Exactly. Do you guys believe in hypnotism, by the way?
No. I mean, no. My first reaction was no, so I guess it's no.
Well, and the thing is, I think that some people are more susceptible to it. I think you have to be open to it. In reality, you have to be open to it to allow yourself to go into that state, because it's not so much like you can, I don't know, I'm not a hypnotist, but you can't completely just hypnotize someone to believe they're a chicken and they're going to fly off the roof.
Yeah.
But it's just to make someone help them relax. When therapists do it, it's to get people to be more comfortable so that they can talk about things that they've repressed and they want to forget so that they can work through those issues.
I was trying to do my damnedest to figure out how she was making it so easy. I mean, it took one click of that cup. That's the other thing, too. She ruined tea for everyone. I don't drink tea, but I am never doing it again because...
I love tea.
Let me see one of them cups in your house. I'm out.
Ding,
done.
ding, ding.
Like, ain't coming over. I'll supply my own drink. Thank you. And that's the other thing too, is I thought that she was getting them through the actual liquid as opposed to her just hypnotizing people. But she just made it seem so easy. She didn't change her voice or anything, and it was just so easy for her to do that.
Well, I think in her character was kind of soothing as well. Mm-hmm. Just her mannerisms and her voice.
I thought she was a very excellent choice to choose for this role. By the way, she had this sort of dominance as the lady of the house, and she was obviously an integral part to their plan. Like, without her hypnotizing anybody, like, most of this would never, the plan wouldn't really work. And so she showed a great deal of power and dominance within that family, and I thought that was really good. Who played her? It was.
Catherine Keener.
Yeah, Catherine Keener. She was really great in this role too. So.
It was different to see her too. I mean, Bradley Whitford has always kind of been a villain, usually in comedies. So it's like Billy Madison. He's just like a douchebag. But Catherine Keener, I don't think I've ever seen her be a villain.
Yeah,
I don't think her. She's always like a more nurturing character, and you see that. I mean, you see she's a mother character, and she has just that calm demeanor. But underneath the surface, she's horrible.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see that the parents, they put up this facade, but then her brother didn't even. He was almost like an animal to me. He was very like, just the way he talked, and like he made me very uncomfortable.
He was somebody not to be around. And yeah,
he's very representative of certain people in this society. But to touch on, because as you guys are talking,
see, this is why I wanted you to be here, because I knew you would like come up with
bring it back.
Yes.
Well, because listen, as you guys are talking, I'm thinking about the party scene again, and I'm thinking about being black during a certain time, and this is kind of like a different perspective of that scene and of him not following his intuition. I'll say my ancestors. I believe that perhaps a lot of them, were quiet, were docile, were, soft-spoken, because it was a matter of life or death, like literally. Like, you don't say this, you don't say that, because someone will kill you, basically, back in those times. And I feel like if you fast forward till today, their blood runs through my veins, and I feel like in certain environments, whether I work with actually 95% like white people, first of all. So before I actually began to study like sociology, I didn't know that I was doing this, but I do carry myself a little bit more different around white people. And and again, it's about survival, but it's a different kind of survival. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that is also something to think about when you see this film, because he is getting these signs, big signs, but he's not, he's keeping it cool. He's keeping it cool. And that's what we do from all these generations, from back in the day until now. I feel like black people keep it cool. Like, we're not trying to rock the boat. It's literally a matter of life or death. So yeah, I just thought about that when you guys were talking.
Nice.
that was good tidbit there.
Yeah. And it's funny, 'cause, he does say it, but he makes it a joke, because when he's in like a comfortable space, when he's talking to Georgina, when she comes in and apologizes for unplugging his phone, he says, I get uncomfortable around when there's too many white people around, and that's something that I'm not black. For those of you who haven't been listening to the last 5 episodes, you suck. I'm not the black one. But for two people, I think, who are of the same ethnicity, it's like you say certain things because it's a safe space. You are safe with this person. They understand your experience. You understand theirs. And then when she rejects that, and we have that famous moment that has now become one of the biggest internet memes of 2017 so far. No.
Yeah.
Aren't you something?
That was creepy.
It was so creepy. And,
wow.
Oh my God. I need to look up the actress. What's her name? Because she's amazing. In that moment when she had that, we saw her like crack a little bit, and the real woman was trying to reach through to Chris. But then the grandmother took over again, and but she was crying and laughing at the same time, and it was so disturbing.
Yeah, I think there was, I guess somebody had spilled a drink or something, or she tapped, so it kind of clocked her out of it for the moment, and so she kind of startled, and that's what kind of brought her out. But it was done by accident, and so they were just, go lay down, and she'll be fine. It was Betty Gabrielle is her name.
Betty Gabrielle. So, yeah, we got to be on the lookout for her.
Yeah,
she was amazing in this role.
Yeah, she was. I want to talk about Rod for a second. What did you guys think of Rod? I mean, obviously, he supplied a lot of the comic relief of the movie. And that was another thing that was amazing about this movie, too, is that Jordan Peele still brought the comedy but never took the suspense out of the movie. And it was never just one or the other. It was never just a full-hearted comedy or a horror movie. He gave you a little bit time to breathe and actually take in each scene as they were being played by giving us a little bit of laughter to kind of just calm us down, and then he'll just go right back into the suspense again. But I thought that was a very unique way of filming. You don't see that often, because usually horror comedies, in my opinion, have like tons of gore in it, because that's pretty much the only time you can get away with so much blood is if you make it funny.
It's campy, it's over the top.
Exactly. So
I don't like those.
So for him to be able to still make us laugh amongst all of this awkward tension, I think was good. But Rod supplied a great comedic balance to this. I think he's great.
Well, I think whenever you're dealing with something that is very serious, and this is something that Jonaral has put me onto, the phrase, sugar with your medicine. That's what it is. Spoonful of sugar. So you have to have these moments of, to break up the serious tension. Mm-hmm. And that's what he did. I mean, other characters kind of did that, but not really. So he was there to sort of like allow the audience to receive all of this information, but not to take it like a Clockwork Orange and be so disturbed. It's like, it's just a movie. And I think it's acceptable because other movies before this, they've had those characters. Most horror movies, at least since the 90s, have those characters where one of them is just funny.
Yeah.
they're funny. They're there to make the audience laugh because it's so serious and it's so bloody and it's so violent. You have to be able to remember, oh, I'm watching a movie. It's fine.
Yeah. What'd you think of Rod? Did you like him? Was he
the comedic relief, right?
Yeah,
He was excellent. I mean, he was excellent. He was really, really good. And again, he was a part of what's the main guy's name? Chris. He was a part of Chris in a way that's like, yo, get out of there. Like, that's your friend telling you.
Just that angel on the shoulder.
Exactly. That's that angel. And it's like, you're not following your own intuition. There's someone else telling you to, and you're still not. And that's how, again, white supremacy. That's how strong it is.
Sorry. And it's more than just him being funny, because obviously he was like, he's like, you need to get out of there. And then he doesn't hear from Chris, so he goes and he investigates and finds out that other people have gone missing. Mm-hmm. He goes to the police and they don't take him seriously. Yeah. Love the cameo by Erica Alexander.
Oh, Maxine.
She looks exactly the same.
She does. Gosh, she's beautiful. Maxine. I'm so happy to see her.
Yeah.
And she's just staring at him like, one moment, let me just call somebody and get some... Yeah.
Oh my God. So he was integral to the plot. He was a hero in the sense. He wasn't just there for comic relief. Yeah. So you don't usually see that happen.
He was obviously the voice of the audience as well. I mean, he was saying things that we all think in situations like that, and then we finally had a character who was able to voice what we're all thinking in the theater, like. It's a sex dungeon over there, and they've got, sex slaves and stuff. You got to get out of there. This stuff ain't right, and blah, blah, blah. Right. So there was something. But here's what's so funny about it is, like, even when he goes to the cops and he's talking to Erica, and, obviously she's looking at him like she's crazy, and it's meant to be funny. And a lot of people were definitely laughing at this point. And even though he's known for being funny, and even his delivery of the story, like, who would believe him? I mean, he just went all in and just expected these people to just believe him. He was like, so where's the SWAT? Where's, these lines, I think, were written to be funny. But here's the funny thing about it. He was serious the entire time he was telling that story. As just a general, normal human being, he was telling these cops, my friend is in trouble. And it wasn't like a tense scene. It was meant to be funny, but he was being serious the whole time. And that, to me, I think is part of his great acting, is that he can be serious at the same time and still be funny. There are some comedians out there who just know how to just bring it every single time with any word that comes out of their mouth. And I thought that was really special about him in that role.
Yeah. Back to Betty, I'm sorry. So what do you guys think that scene meant?
Which scene?
With Betty and just Betty going.
No. Actress Betty.
I'm sorry.
Georgina.
Yeah,
Georgina. Okay.
What do you guys think that scene meant, or did it mean anything?
You mean the one where he confronts her about the cell phone and then she tries to reach out to him?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
In my opinion, I mean, I think that's exactly what it was. Well, again, when you think you're in a safe space with someone, and obviously, brain transplant aside, if it was just two normal people talking, but they're in a setting where it's like, she's like, I'm the help. I can't just be telling this man all my deepest, darkest secrets, even though it's like, I want to, and he seems sympathetic. No. It's fine. Maybe that's like a surface analysis, but, she wanted to reach out to him. And I think it could even be a way of looking at someone who has, she's crying.
Yeah,
but she's smiling in his face. And that's how a lot of people are. It's like someone is smiling in your face, but something's wrong with them. And then you don't go further to be like, what's wrong? What did he say after she left? Bitch is crazy.
Yeah.
And that's how we write a lot of people off. We're like, oh, they're crazy.
Yeah, my very first instinct was that, like the real person was trying to come out, and it was just sort of this half battle struggle of, I want to see something so bad, but then, because that tear comes out, and usually that will indicate that she's inside there trying to speak to him in some way. So that was my initial reaction on how I took that, but I'm sure there might have been like a deeper reasoning for that.
Well, I think that's the surface movie part that the real woman was trying to communicate.
Yeah.
She was trying to tell him something's wrong. Just like when he flashes the camera and Andre, comes back to himself, he tells him something's wrong. You need to get out. So that's what they're all constantly like trying to reach out to him, but he ignores it. He's like, she's crazy. They're all crazy.
Well, I just came with this thought, and it's kind of like a long one. So, I mean, yeah, she's stuck inside this person, and she's trying to get out, and it's very difficult. And she sees someone who's in need, and she wants to connect with them. I don't know. Like, I feel like in this society, someone did a report somewhere where they said that black women and Asian men are the both less wanted or less, desired in this society. They both have this bad rap for whatever reason. I kind of feel like black women have it rough in this society. They really, really, really fucking have it rough. From the beginning of age 3, 4, 5, they're already going to the store and seeing a box to put stuff in their hair to make it more straight like other women. I mean, from the beginning, they're being told that they're not good enough, that their hair is wrong, that their skin tone is wrong. They're being taught to walk a certain way, look a certain way, like a lot of girls are. But in particularly, black women have it rough because they're consistently being told that there's something wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with wearing weave. There's nothing wrong with wearing wigs or braids. But it does something to you. And I feel like in that moment, yes, she was trying to save him. Get out of here. But you guys were saying that he went to this woman to have this moment, like, hey, let's connect here because you have to tell me what's going on because something's off, right? And then she's like, she tries, and then it's really painful to walk around being someone else. Like I said, I work with a lot of white people and I put on a mask a lot. And I didn't know that until maybe like a year ago. And it can be extremely exhausting. I've never cried, but it can be extremely exhausting being this person in front of all these people all the time. So I kind of feel like maybe that was representative of what black women go through in this society.
Yeah, I think you hit that on the nail. That was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny. You just made me realize something so silly. Get out. Because you just said get out. And I was like, oh, that's another meaning of the title of the movie. They want these people to get out of them. They want to be themselves, know? They can't be themselves. Get out. Oh, my God. Sorry.
So I think we should talk about sort of the closing scenes of this movie.
Just like the alternate.
Yeah, just towards the ending. This is something that I noticed when I walked out of the theater. So basically, the ending, he's obviously caught. He's in this situation where you just don't see him getting out of this mess. He's chained to a chair. He's being hypnotized like from gate. Like
he's picking the cotton.
Yeah, out of the chair. And, he manages to free himself. And one by one, he takes this family out. Now, I watch a lot of horror movies, and I can't. It's gonna be so. I'm like stuttering right now because it's so hard for me to express how proud I was not only to see this character just fight for his life, but just in horror movies in general. You usually do not see the final guy or girl fight for their life the way that they do. Yes, they run away. And it's usually a one-on-one sort of aspect where you have to get rid of your adversary. And for the most part, the villain dies either on accident or they get pushed into something that kills them. It's never by the hands of the protagonist. And this is something that I notice is that when you have a horror movie and you have this final girl, it's usually somebody who's of purity, like for the most part they're virgins or they're just good and wholesome. You never want to see the hero or the good person take a life because it takes away the difference between good and evil. And that's why in horror movies you see every time somebody gets the upper hand, knocks their villain out with a hammer or a rock or whatever, they usually drop the weapon. They don't want to officially kill anybody because their character is of a good place. They are not thinking twice about taking another man's life.
That's so frustrating.
Even if it is but even if it is somebody who is trying to kill them, if they are supposed to be depicted as a good person, they don't do it. So they just knock them out enough to get away. Chris, on the other hand, did not hesitate. He took everyone out. He beat them to a pulp. He made sure they were dead. Let me tell you, this theater unified in just such an applause. And like, why are we cheering on people dying? I don't know. I mean, we just were so invested in Chris, and we were so happy that he got the upper hand, that he took charge of his life, and that it wasn't written in a cliche way to have him just make it out of the house alive. These people needed to go. Yeah. And they needed to die. And it was very specific, if you guys noticed, with the dad, how he died. He had that big giant buck head on his wall. That man took it down and stabbed him with the very thing that he believes need to be exonerated from the planet. That was very specific. And I love the fact that he did not hesitate one bit to take a life. And I just was so happy that they had this character do that, because I thought that he was just going to limp his way to freedom and, you know, and have these people get caught or go to jail. No, they needed to go. And I just love that he took charge of that.
I would say, you know, thinking about the ending, I think my expectation was that it was going to be very Stepford Wives. And I thought it was going to end similar to that, which would have been terrible. Not terrible as in I would have hated it, but it just would have been horrible. I'm glad they didn't go that route, though, because it's been done. But yes, I think I don't remember the audience unifying for any of the deaths, but I do remember like when he finally got out and his girlfriend Rose is laying there dying, and then you know I remember when we heard the siren from the cop car, everybody was like, oh.
So immediately they just assumed that they were going to...
He was a cop, and we were like, we know this isn't going to end well for him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I just said this earlier, too. It's like, well, first of all, so the Walter guy, the one where the grandpa was inside of him, I just love the fact that, you know, because in this, when they're hypnotized, they're still aware. They're still awake. They're not blacked out. They see and hear and feel everything that's going on. They're just not in control. And so when they have that moment where they are themselves, you know, he could have reacted differently. He could have just been like, why am I standing over you? And what's going on? He immediately, without hesitation, he didn't even give it away. He just looked at him and knew exactly what to do. And he played the role. And he pretended to be her I mean, I just thought that was so great for him to, you know, be there for another man and not just, you know, think about himself. And then he took his own life, which I thought, not necessarily, I'm not going to say smart, but obviously you can't remove that part of his brain. So he could easily repress back to the grandfather at any point. So he felt that he needed to die as well, again, which is so selfless. And I just really, really like that. But as the cops were coming, I didn't get that. The moment I saw the cop car, I immediately knew it was Rod. I mean, obviously I couldn't prove it, but I just thought it was Rod. The thing was is that if it wasn't, I was going to be pissed, because when everybody dies, there's no witnesses. And they're just going to blame the person who is left alive who did it.
Yeah. And that's what I fully expected. And I mean, and that's what, when we got to watch the alternate ending today, that is exactly what happens. The cops show up, they arrest him, he goes to prison. And even though it's like he's defeated them and they're not going to be able to do it to anyone else, still, our hero has to be punished for something that he didn't do. I mean, you know, he didn't murder people for no reason. So I just remember that happening and just being like, oh, God, he's going to jail.
Yeah.
I expected them to open fire.
Well, they didn't really have too many cast members in this movie anyway, and so if anybody was going to show up, it would have been the cop from the earlier scene from the beginning of the movie
Maybe.
or something
But
like that.
even then, I mean, because the cop, I feel like that BuzzFeed article was pretty accurate when they said, she didn't want to leave a paper trail because they weren't in the town where she needed to be yet. They were somewhere like on highway patrol. This guy knows nothing about this, so if he would have shown up, I don't know if he would have been sympathetic to Chris or if he would have just been like, oh, should have let me run his license.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have had this trouble in the first place. So I really just expected them to shoot him. I expected that, and so it was a relief. Everyone clapped when
when Rod
when it was
showed up
Rod.
and
We're
stuff.
like, oh, thank God.
What'd you think of the ending? Were you shocked or surprised to see what you saw, or did you expect something?
I'm right along with you guys. I thought it was a cop. I thought he was going to get arrested. I thought, that whole thing. But I'm still stuck on my initial reaction to the grandfather killing himself was deeper than what everyone else was saying. I'm trying to get my words together here. I just feel like, yes, I liked how you said that he was aware.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, him knowing what to do immediately means that he was like right there. He just couldn't do anything until the flash came on. So he knew. He jumped right in. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how this works. Do you have to flash yourself every morning? Do you have to flash yourself every 3 hours? Do you have to set the alarm so that you stay woke? Because now he's awake. I feel like, why kill yourself? Just control it, or in some way. But I feel like that's it. I feel like whatever this thing is, whatever this contraption is that takes out your brain and puts their brain in there, is uncontrollable. And if you do not stay woke, then I'm not promoting suicide in any way. But for this particular character, he's like, I can't keep doing this. Mm-hmm. I can't keep putting on this other person because I'm standing right here and I don't want to do this shit, but I can't control it. And I feel like, again, that's what a lot of people of color, not just black people, but people of color in general, we put on this extra mask to get out and go into the world. And this man does not want to have to do a flash every morning to be himself. He just wants to be himself.
It's a really good way to look at it. Yeah.
And for him to do that, he's just going, I just can't live anymore. Again, I do not promote suicide. Please do not kill yourself.
Yeah, we do not want that.
But in this society, back to the definition. I mean, we're dominated by images, by TV, by 50 most beautiful people. Recently there's been some people of color on there, but the majority of the time it's someone who's white with blonde hair and blue eyes. And since we've been given these images, constantly, it does make us feel some type of way. But if you know history and you stay woke, you can see, like you said, these things are not accidents. These are not flukes that, I forget how many people are in the academy, but they're all white. These people make the decisions on what we see and what we've been seeing all our lives. So our implicit biases are just to naturally gravitate towards things that, are not of color. But again, if you know history and you know yourself and you're woke, then you won't kill yourself. Mm-hmm. You'll stay with us and you'll fight this damn system.
And I just wanted to add real quick, because I feel like this is a character that is sort of overlooked. And I don't know the character's name, but the blind character.
Oh,
Remember
Stephen
him?
Root. Yeah,
Stephen Root.
I don't know his
That's
name in the movie, but
yeah,
Stephen
so
Root.
the actor Stephen Root.
Yeah, he was great.
So when they introduced this character, he's white. He's at the party, and everyone else has been fawning over Chris and saying all of these ridiculous things, about him being black and trying to pass them off as compliments, but really they're kind of insensitive comments. And then when he sees this guy just by himself, he's blind, and he says to him, oh, they're just ignorant, don't fault them for it. And we kind of think, oh, here's an ally. Here's someone that understands the system. And at the same time, when it's revealed at the end, I think he does understand the system somewhat. He's a white blind man who wants Chris's body because he is the one who, at the little auction, wins Chris. I don't understand that little bingo game. I don't know how they did that.
It's a code that we will never understand. But
I will never. Well, maybe we would if we really watched it and talked with Jordan Peele. But he's the one who wins Chris, and he wants to take Chris's body so that he can become a photographer again because he lost his sight.
Yeah, Chris is a photographer in the movie, and he just wants his eyesight, his
vision. And the thing
vision.
that killed me is when Chris says, "Why us? Why black people?" And Stephen Root's character responds, "Oh, I could give a shit whether you're black or not. I just want your eyes."
Exactly.
And he's like, please don't lump me in with them. I'm not like them. And that is how racism works. Because there aren't people who will walk around saying, I'm racist. I'm racist. I hate black people. They might say I hate black people, but they don't say I'm racist. That's not how people identify. And most people aren't even aware that they are racist. It's just how they are. And that example, Stephen Root's character, is a very insidious form of racism because he thinks he's above it and he thinks he's an ally and he's like, oh, they're like Neanderthals. They're so stupid. They're so simple. But me, I'm above it. And, I appreciate you for who you are. But also, by the way, I want to appropriate the fuck out of your eyes.
Right. Yeah. No, he represents liberals. He represents people who have black friends, who possibly have like a black cousin, oh, I'm not racist, I live in LA. My cab driver was black this morning and I talked to him all day. He's still very much in collusion with racism. Implicit bias is something that I'm learning right now. And the definition is the largely unconscious an automatic prejudice that operates under awareness without intentional control. And he's right there, but he doesn't know that he's doing these things and saying and how they're problematic. I mean, again, I don't want to give anybody a pass, but I feel like on some levels, I'm not racist, but you are still voting for Trump, but you're still only supporting films with white people in them. You're still buying magazines that only have, that have white girls with braids and, oh my God, this is so amazing. You're still perpetuating this stereotype of black being, or any person of color being less than. It's something that people need to just sit down and learn, really sit down and learn. Robin DiAngelo, this professor that I really, really love, she talks about, she doesn't call herself an ally. She says, if a person of color wants to call me an ally, that is wonderful, but I will never give myself that title. Like, she really understands that it's not some label. It's not something you can just throw around. It's something that you live every day and that you fight with, even in your own self. I mean, even in my own self, I'm really beginning to educate myself and really trying to fight these quote-unquote natural urges to gravitate towards things that do not benefit me whatsoever. Yeah.
No,
I can go on and on and on.
Yeah, and that's the thing with this movie too, is that, again, I'll go back to what I said in the first episode. People look at horror movies as just blood and guts and reasons to just be violent, and it promotes violence and all of this. And horror has a way of telling a great story, to open up conversation, to really get a point across that sometimes can't be done by just sitting you down and talking it directly into your face. Sometimes it needs to be symbolic or metaphoric, and horror movies has that way of doing that, as well as putting fear into it, because that's when the truth comes out. Yeah. And this movie accomplished that, and I'm just glad that a movie like this exists, and not because of the whole, black thing or anything like that. It's really, horror movies need to be looked at as something of a different part of storytelling. Now, it's not for everyone, but just the misconception that what horror is and that you can't learn something from it or be entertained in a very positive way is just false. And I hope that this movie starts that revolution, just like Blair Witch did for, found footage, and, Scream for like slasher films. This movie has a way of pointing out a lot of, things that are happening, and I think can be addressed in a way that some people may not see in just a typical drama movie. So
and that's something that has been part of the horror genre for a long time, because horror is representative of the time that it's made. Mm-hmm. Not all of them. We're not saying that every single horror film is a gem and that they all have some sort of societal representation and it's a deeper meaning. Some of them are just fun and silly or stupid.
Exactly.
But a lot of them, just like I think going back to like the 1950s, the monster movies where something would get hit by like a nuclear explosion and then there would suddenly be this giant tarantula walking around killing people. And that was because of the nuclear bombs being tested and the atomic bombs going off. So then there was like this actual threat out in the world that people were afraid of. So they played on people's fears. This is playing on our fears, and this is playing on all of our fears of, oh my God, am I racist? Mm-hmm. That's just chilling to think, oh my God, am I implicit in this? Have I been, I mean, that's something that people are afraid of.
You keep saying implicit.
Complicit. I don't know why I keep saying that. I don't know.
Like he said, people will watch this film and they'll go, "Oh my God, am I racist?" You probably operate with a racist point of view, and that is okay to recognize it. Don't freak out, but it's up to you to fight that and to analyze that and to think, why do I feel this way when this person walks in the elevator with me and I clutch my purse? They've done nothing to me. Especially when statistically the person who looks like you is most likely to attack you than the black man or the Asian man or the Mexican man who gets in the elevator with you. So yeah, again, the good bad binary. You're not a bad person if you have done some of these things that this film depicts, but it's time for you to wake up also and stop.
Well, if you are brainwashing people and trying to ruin their lives, you're a bad person. You should do that.
Not those characters. The people who are, oh my God, your muscles and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, I mean, and those are microaggressions. You need to be aware of those because it's insensitive. But real quick, because yes, I think we have definitely talked this to death. But I think we've hit all the really good highlights and things that people probably haven't or maybe haven't talked about. But I think it's important to note that Jordan Peele has mentioned that he has other projects that he wants to work on. But aside from that, another director, her name is Dee Reese. She's another up-and-coming, or I'm sure she's been working on lots of things for a while, but we're just now hearing about her. She has a movie called Mudbound, and that was just at the Sundance Film Festival, and apparently it's going to be a big hit on Netflix, I'm sure. She has a horror film that she's working on with the same producers of Get Out.
Yeah, Blumhouse, Jason Blum, and yeah.
And it's going to be about a black lesbian couple living in
Suburbia.
Yeah, Suburbia. And I mean, who knows how it's going to go. The article, and I appreciate the article that I read, it doesn't give away a lot. It could be a supernatural element. It could be something else. Maybe it's just mind tricks. Maybe it's just, crazy suburban people. But this is another, this is where we're going with horror now. I think it's representative of the times and the people who live in this time who haven't been recognized, and we're seeing how they are affected in these different situations. Whether they're 100% realistic or not, there's going to be a lot of underlying themes and messages, and I'm excited about this film.
Bring it on. No, yeah, I think that's going to be a really good opportunity to see something like this and see where they take this lesbian couple in suburbia and how they operate and try and fit in. I have many thoughts about what they could possibly do with it, so I'm really curious.
I've literally never heard of this ever in my life. But it sounds fucking phenomenal for many reasons. I have never seen this. I've never heard of this lesbian couple. I never even, so this is good. We should watch these things that are new, not the same people. This is great.
Sorry, another random tidbit. So the other night, I started watching this movie called Home. No, I'm not talking about the little alien movie voiced by Rihanna. It's a horror film starring Heather Langenkamp, who is the original final girl in Nightmare on Elm Street, Nancy. And it also stars Samantha Moomba, I was telling you about, and you heard her song that day in the grocery store. And yeah, you remember Samantha Mumba?
I love me Samantha.
Now, I watched it because they play a lesbian couple, and they have a daughter, a little girl, and Heather Langenkamp has an older daughter from a previous marriage who's like a total bitch. And then apparently she has to like save her younger sister who she doesn't really care for because she's Christian and she doesn't like approve of her mother's new lifestyle and whatever. I couldn't finish the movie because it was so fucking boring.
Aww.
But I will say Samantha Mumba, she's a really good actress. She was the surprise hit of that movie. If I didn't know her, I'd be like, yeah, she's totally American.
I've only seen her in one other movie. And it was
Time Machine?
Well, oh my God, I forgot about Time Machine. No,
She was in something else?
She was in a horror movie.
What?
It was a zombie movie. It was super cheesy, and I don't think it was a U.S. movie either.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it was a zombie movie. She obviously played like the love interest or whatever. I forgot about Time Machine though, but yeah.
Yeah, she's really good in this movie. It's not a great movie at all, and I couldn't. I was going so slow. It was not scary.
That's too bad.
But I watched it because I appreciate like, oh look, representation. You know, this lesbian couple, interracial lesbian couple. Totally for it. The little girl, she was so cute, but she was not a good actor. I swear she was reading cue cards at one point. So yeah, so they're out there, and the productions are getting better. You know, people are telling these stories from their point of view. Dee Reese, I believe she identifies as a lesbian because she mentions like, hey, this is basically like me and my wife.
Yeah.
So, these are going to be authentic stories, and I'm sure they're going to cast the fuck out of this movie, and it's going to be great, amazing actors. So I'm looking forward to it.
And they need to cast me. The L Word was one of my favorite shows, so I'm ready for some lesbian something happening. I love that.
And then we can have some gay boys.
I want to thank you for being on here on this show because, it was great to get your insight on things, and you definitely did say some stuff that I would have not thought about, and it's good to get another point of view than just the bias boys giving our 2 cents about things. So it was nice having you on here, especially as our first guest, so thanks for breaking that cherry.
Woo! Oh, and also you want to like mention anything that you're working on coming up, and also any of your social media so people can stalk the fuck out of you.
Stalk the fuck out of me. Thank you guys for having me. This was really good. It's really hot in here, but I forgot about that because this is a good conversation. My name is Jonaral, Jon as in Nancy, Aral. My last name is Martin, like how it sounds. Go to YouTube, All Black Lives Matter, an unobserved repetition of American history. It's a long-ass title, I know, but if you just type All Black Lives Matter and unobserved, you'll see my face. You will see more stuff. I mean, a lot of the content today is talking about racism, and it's talking about things that are really problematic. And again, sometimes we don't know how to respond to them. What I'm working on will help you respond, will help you articulate why things should not be said and why we should, not be in collusion with certain things. So again, Jonaral Martin, everything, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I guess my Facebook's kind of private though. Instagram, just Instagram.
Twitter. Definitely look him up on Instagram. You can't see, but this man works out, so you'll also get some eye candy along with some education.
You will. Sex sells.
Sex sells. So speaking of sex, no. In closing, we're gonna do our bitch really. And
I've been getting some great feedback on this. So I'm glad that we're doing this, and this is you. You got one this time.
I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna keep it real simple, okay? Scream 2, the beginning, the first kill, Omar Epps. Bitch, really? Not even like Omar Epps. Bitch, really, you wrote that? Who the fuck puts their ear up to a stall? Who cares what they're saying? You don't know who they are? This is so embarrassing. Yeah, so he puts his head up to the stall because someone's mumbling in the other stall and he thinks it's funny. Again, perpetuating this stereotype that black men don't take anything seriously and they're always like the class clown. Gotta laugh at everything. And really, it was just setting up so that they could follow it up with the amazing kill of Jada Pinkett because that's horrible. They just had to get him out of the way so that he could put his coat on.
Yeah.
It was just a quick, easy way to get him out of the way.
Really, bitch. Really. it could not have gone so well for Ghostface to kill him in this manner. I mean, did he really think he was going to go into this theater and kill him exactly the way? How did he know he was going to go in that style?
I mean,
how did he know he was going to listen? And he, for some reason, he just lives up to the stereotype because he did exactly what he was supposed to do.
I guess, you know, secretly,
Omar, really,
the killers in Scream 2.
Was Jada not enough for you? You had to sit here and get off on whoever was next door. First of all, he was in the men's room, so it's like, if anything, you were listening to two dudes anyway. But yet, it was still hot enough for you to be nosy. Go back to your woman, and you would have still been alive.
Seriously, and. I mean, just to point out really quick, because we are talking about Get Out and the representation of black characters in horror films, it's really disturbing. After he's killed, the other two guys that are at the stalls just bounce. I mean, they don't notice that he's killed.
Yeah.
Or do they? And they just don't give a fuck. They're wearing masks.
They're all
they have
wearing
white masks on.
Yeah.
And it's white. And then Jada is killed in front of 300 people, and they don't do anything.
That's really interesting because that's kind of like what's happening.
It's a representation of what's happening now.
Yeah.
It's always happened.
I still think it's just payback for Demon Knight. They were just like, woman, how
said,
dare you live in a horror movie? You dying today.
She was blonde in that one, so she got a pass.
Right? Yeah.
All
no,
right.
that was a good one. So, we are going to close this show out. We want to thank everyone for listening. Remember, we want you to go to iTunes, rate us, comment what you think about the movie. Tell us, do you disagree with the message from Get Out? Do you agree with what was saying? Do you agree with what we were saying? We want to know what you think. And just remember to rate us on SoundCloud and iTunes. Go to our Facebook page, comment on what you thought about the movie. We'd love to hear from all of you guys, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much. And if you're a salty cracker, drink some water. Catch you next time on Bitch I Ain't Scared.
That's so problematic.